ஆழ்வார் திருவடிகளே சரணம். எம்பெருமானார் திருவடிகளே சரணம். பிள்ளைலோகாச்சாரியர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். The most merciful Pillailokacharya, out of his great compassion, gave us many Rahasya Granthams. Mumukshupadi is considered to be the foremost among all of them. Mumukshupadi explains about the Rahasya Trayam, the three Rahasyams, the three confidential matters which are explained as part of Pancha Samskaram to a Sri Vaishnava. As part of the Pancha Samskaram, the initiation routine, one of the Samskaram is Mantropadesham. In that Mantropadesham, the Acharya will give these three mantrams or these three Rahasyams, Tirumantram, Dvaya Mahamantram and Charamashlokham to the Shishya. Initially the mantram itself will be given and subsequently the meanings must also be learnt and thoroughly understood, because these three, Tirumantram, Dvaya Mahamantram and Charamashlokham, are intertwined with all our daily activities. We have to constantly remember the meanings of these three Rahasyams and follow the footsteps of our Purvacharyas in implementing the principles which are highlighted in these three Rahasyams. Among the three Rahasyams, Tirumantram is considered as the primary one, Ashtaksharam, the Narayana Mantram. In the Mumukshupadi Grantham, Pillailokacharya has three prakaranams, three sections. The first section is for Tirumantram. Manavala Mamnigal has given a very apt and beautiful commentary for this Mumukshupadi. With the help of this commentary, we are trying to understand the meanings for these sutrams in Mumukshupadi. Mumukshupadi is a sutra grantham. All of the statements are in the form of sutrams, which are usually short and cryptic, to the point. And to understand the sutrams, we will need Vyakhyanam, commentary, and that is what Manavala Mamni has given. We have seen up to the 98th sutram, that is, we have seen up to the word Narayana in the Tirumantram. So Tirumantram has Pranavam, Namaha and Narayanaya. Of these, Pranavam was explained in the beginning, and then Namaha was explained, and subsequently Narayana Padam was explained. In the Narayana Padam, there are two ways of understanding this particular word, Narayana. The two understandings are based on two samasams. Samasam means combination, joining of two words. It is a composite word. In Sanskritam there are many different samasams. Here, for the Narayana word, two different samasams are used to explain the meaning of the Narayana word. First samasam is Tatpurusha samasam. The second samasam is Bahuvrihi samasam. A little bit of grammatical knowledge is required in Sanskritam to understand this, and I have just tried to explain as little as I know in this particular Sanskritam grammar. So Tatpurusha Samasam means two words are joined the focus is on the second word generally. Here in the first interpretation, Tatpurusha Samasam way of viewing the Narayana word, 4 sutrams were present from 95th to 98th sutram. In this, the explanation is based on Tatpurusha Samasam, that is Naranam Ayanam Yaha Saha Narayanaha. The abode, Ayanam means abode, the abode for all of the entities. All of the entities, eternal entities, are present somewhere. Any entity must exist on some support. So here, Naranam, for all the eternal entities, Ayanam Yaha Saha, one who is the abode, that person is Narayana. That is the explanation as per Tatpurusha Samasam. That was explained in the Sutrams 96, 97 and 98. 95 gave the introduction and 96, 97, 98, those 4 sutrams put together explained in detail how Bhagavan is the abode of all the eternal entities. What are all the eternal entities? Those were all explained in the 96th and 97th sutram. In the 96th sutram, Pillai Lokacharya said, Nara means the collection of all the group of entities, eternal entities. Mamnigal beautifully explained it, how Ringshaye is the root word, root meaning for Ra. Nara, that is Ringshaye means that which gets destroyed. Nara means that which does not get destroyed, that is eternal. Nara means collection of such entities, and Naraha means collection of such collections. And Bhagavan is the abode for all of those entities. That was explained in 96th Sutram. And 97th Sutram, the collection of all those collections, they were all explained, starting with Jnanananda Amalatvadigalum. So, the primary qualities, Jnanam, Anandam, Amalatvam, Anantam. And then Jnanabala Aishwarya Virya Shakti Tejas. And then Vatsalya Saushilya qualities. And then Bhagavan's divine forms. Other qualities like divine form, the qualities of the divine forms of Bhagavan, and then his ornaments, his weapons, his divine consorts, Nityasuris, all the tools which are used in his service, the gatekeepers, the chiefs of the servitors, Muktatmas, the Paramapadam, which is a collection, which is a combination of many divine elements, and then Mula Prakriti, and then all the Baddhatmas, and then time, Kalam, and then Mahan, Ahankaram, Andams, the many different worlds, and then the residents of those worlds. So all of these were explained as part of the eternal entities, the collection of eternal entities. That is, Naraha was explained in detail by Pillai Lokacharya in the 97th Sutram. And in the 98th Sutram, he explained that Ayanam means Bhagavan is the abode for all of these entities. So that is based on the Tatpurusha Samasam that was explained in great detail, that Bhagavan is the abode for all of the entities. Now, from 99th Sutram, we have to see the next section where Narayana word is continued still. Let us see the introduction given by Mamunigal for 99th Sutram. So here, the meaning based on Bahuvrihi Samasam is mercifully explained by Pillai Lokacharya, starting with Anganandrike. So the Sutram is Anganandrike, இவை தன்னை ஆශ්‍රயமாக உடையன் என்னவுமாம். That is the sutram here. Now let us see the introduction a little bit. It talks about Bahuvrihi Samasam. So Bahuvrihi Samasam is a Samasam where two words are joined together, but the focus is on another entity. The entity is not directly present in the two words, but the meaning when these two words are joined will lead to an external entity which is not directly mentioned here. That is Bahuvrihi Samasam. So here we can understand it very easily. The explanation which was given for Bahuvrihi Samasam of this particular word Narayana is Naraha Ayanam Yasya Saha Narayanaha. That means Naraha, all of the entities, Ayanam, being the abode, Yasya Saha, for whom that person is Narayanaha. So here Naraha indicates all the eternal entities again. Ayanam indicates abode, same as before. But here the meaning is slightly different, that Naraha Ayanam here indicates all the entities being the abode of Narayana. So from this Bahuvrihi Samasam can be easily understood. Naraha indicates the eternal entities, Ayanam indicates abode. But when these two are joined, the meaning leads to Narayana, who is the one who is residing in all of these entities. So Narayana, that name is not directly indicated in both of these words, but the meaning leads to that entity, that personality, Narayana. So that is Bahuvrihi Samasam. So that is what is explained as the second meaning for Narayana, and that simple meaning for the 99th Sutram. Anganandrike ivadanai ashrayamaga udayan enna umam. The simple meaning is, alternatively, Anganandrike means the other explanation. Ivaitannai, Ivai means here all of the entities, eternal entities which were discussed previously. Ivaitannai ashrayamaga udayan enna umam, having as his abode, as his resting place. So Bhagavan is present in all of these entities. So that is 99th Sutram, simple explanation. Let us see Mamunigal's commentary. He brings out a very good important point here. So here, instead of saying it in Tatpurusha Samasam, Pilyalokacharya is explaining in Bahuvrihi Samasam, that is having all of these entities as his abode. So that is explained. That is a simple commentary. But after that, Mamunigal explains one important aspect here. One of the entities which was highlighted in the 97th Sutram, some of them were Bhagavan's qualities. That is Jnana, Ananda, Amalatvadi. That is Jnana, Ananda, Amalatva, Ananta, those qualities. Jnana, Bala, Aishwarya, Vidya, Shakti, Tejas qualities. These qualities, Vatsalya, Saushilya, Saulabhya, these qualities are also explained in that collection. Now the question here is, when these aspects, so all of these Naraha, the eternal entities, when they were identified as being present, as being held by Bhagavan, Narayana, the qualities were included there. But here, when Bhagavan is said to be inside all of these entities, Mamunigal specifically analyzes this particular aspect of how do we treat the qualities. So, when Bhagavan is said to be present in all of these eternal entities, Naraha, are qualities included in that set or not? That is the question here. So here Mamunigal explains that the qualities must be excluded from that list, because when we say that Bhagavan is present in those qualities also, then there is a problem called Anavastha arises. Anavastha means being endless, the situation of being endless, that happens. And also Atmashrayam. Atmashrayam means qualities being inside the qualities. So Bhagavan is having, let's take the example of quality Jnanam. Now Jnanam is counted in the Naraha as the eternal entities while explaining about Tatpurusha Samasam explanation. So Bhagavan is said to be having Jnanam as a quality. Now, if we say that Bhagavan is present within Jnanam, then a question will arise, is Bhagavan present within Jnanam with Jnanam or without Jnanam? Because Bhagavan is already said as having Jnanam, he is already supporting Jnanam. So when he is said to be present within Jnanam, then this question will arise, whether Bhagavan is having Jnanam inside Jnanam or not. If we say he is having Jnanam, then a question will arise, whether he is again inside that Jnanam. And it keeps going on like that. When we say he is not having Jnanam, then we will have another problem where it is already established that Bhagavan is having Jnanam. So if we say now that Bhagavan is existing within Jnanam, inside Jnanam, without Jnanam, then another problem will arise. So that is Anavastha. And then Atmashrayam means this particular Jnanam is within Jnanam also. Then that will have problem. It is like saying Jnanam is within Jnanam. So to avoid these two issues, Mamunigal takes effort in explaining that while considering Bahuvrihi Samasam, we should exclude Jnanam from it. Because if we include Jnanam as one of the entities, then Bhagavan being within Jnanam will lead to further confusion. So that cannot be accepted. So he excludes that. And he quotes Periyavachan Pillai, where Periyavachan Pillai explains the same thing in his Grantham as well. So that is 99th Sutram. Now 100th Sutram. Let us see Mamunigal's introduction, brief introduction. So by these two samasams, what is the ultimate result? What is the ultimate meaning which we get? What are the ultimate aspects we derive from Bhagavan? That is mercifully explained by Pillai Lokacharya in the 100th Sutram, starting with Iva Irandalum. So 100th Sutram, Iva Irandalum Palittadu Paratva Saulabhyangal. So simple meaning for this is, with these two samasams, that is with these two explanations, using the two samasams, we are deriving the qualities of Paratvam and Saulabhyam in Bhagavan. So two qualities are basically established, that these two qualities exist in Bhagavan. That is the ultimate benefit which we got. Let us see Mamunigal's commentary. So by saying Narangalukku Ayanam and Narangale Ayanamaga Udayavan, that is by saying that Bhagavan is the abode for all the entities and Bhagavan is present in all of the entities. So Bhagavan is having all the entities on him and Bhagavan is present within all of the entities. By saying these two, there are two main qualities which are derived in Bhagavan. That is, being the greatest entity of supporting all the entities. So Bhagavan is distinguished from all of the other entities as he is the one who is supporting all of the other entities. So this reveals his greatness. This reveals his supremacy. There is no one who is able to do this. Only Bhagavan Sriman Narayana has this capability. So this supremacy this greatness is present in him. So that is one aspect. And Bhagavan, being such great personality, still is remaining inside all the Chetana and Achetana entities. That is, sentient and insentient entities. That shows his simplicity. His act of being present in all of the entities shows how simple, how easily approachable he is. He is present in every entity as Antaryami. He is present within us. He is present within all the entities which we can see, whether Atmas or insentient beings, Sachetanams. He is present in all of the entities. That shows his easy accessibility, easy approachability, how simple he is. That is his Saulabhyam. So his Paratvam and Saulabhyam are understood from these two explanations. That is 100th Sutram. Now 101st Sutram. Mamnigal explains another viewpoint where, with the help of these two samasams, the other aspects which are derived in Bhagavan from these two explanations, starting with Antaryamitvam. 101st Sutram. Antaryamitvam Upayatvamam, Upeyatvamam Agavamam. So here, through another viewpoint, another way, with the help of these two samasams, that is Tatpurusha Samasam explanation and Bahuvrihi Samasam explanation, that is Bhagavan having every entity on him and Bhagavan being present in all of the entities, with the help of these two explanations, we can understand the following three qualities in Bhagavan. That is his being Antaryami, Antaryamitvam. That is, Bhagavan is the Antaryami of all of the entities. Bhagavan being the Upayam of all of the entities. Bhagavan being the Upayam of all of the entities. So these three principles are also understood from the two explanations. Let us see Mamnigal's commentary. This particular explanation is again very technical. I will try to explain as little as I know in the Sanskritam grammar explanation. So Bahuvrihi Samasam and Tatpurusha Samasam, with these two samasams, as explained in Antaryami, Brahmanam, etc., there are many portions in Shastram which explain about Bhagavan being the Antaryami. So from Bahuvrihi, we can understand that Bhagavan is the Antaryami. And this is again already explained in Shastram in many places, that is specifically Antaryami, Brahmanam and other places. So all the Chetanam and Achetanam, they are all having Bhagavan as the Antaratma. So Bhagavan remaining as the Antaratma, he is controlling all of the entities. He is guiding all of the entities. So that is Antaryamitvam. And then there are two dhatus which are shown, in Gatau and Ayagatau. So these two are in Samskrita grammar, the root explanations for the Ayanapadam, that is Naraha and Naranam. There is Ayanam is there. So this Ayanam has two roots. One is in Gatau and other is Ayagatau. One is based on Karmani Vyutpatti and other is based on Kartari Vyutpatti. That is based on, one is based on active voice and another is based on passive voice. So based on these two, we understand that Bhagavan is the Upayam and Bhagavan is the Upayam. So Bhagavan being the abode of everyone, that is, he is the refuge for everyone, says that he is the Upayam, and Bhagavan being the Antaryami, Bhagavan being the ultimate controller, that is explaining that he is the Upayam. So he is both the Upayam, that is means, the process, and then he is the Upayam, the end. We reach Bhagavan and we serve Bhagavan, that is the end. So both Upayatvam and Upayatvam, and on top of these two, Antaryamitvam. So these three principles are understood from these two, Bahuvrihi Samasam and Tatpurusha Samasam. Based on Bahuvrihi Samasam, Bhagavan's Antaryamitvam is established. Based on Tatpurusha Samasam, Bhagavan's Upayatvam and Upayatvam are explained. So these two are explained in this. So there are other pramanams which are quoted by Mamnigal here. Narastiti sarvapumsam samuhaha parikadyate gatir alambanam tasyatena narayana sprutaha. And then Narashabdena jivanam samuhaha prochyate budaihi tesham ayana bhutatvan narayana ihochyate. So these two explanations are further seen in other places in Shastram, where Bhagavan being the Antaryami, Bhagavan being the Upayam and Bhagavan being the Upayam are emphasized. So based on these two, Tatpurusha Samasam and Bahuvrihi Samasam, these aspects are derived. That is explained in the 101st Sutram. Next we will see 102nd Sutram. Let us see one important point which is explained here in the commentary of 101st Sutram is similar to how we excluded the qualities while considering the Antaryamitvam, that is Bhagavan being the Antaryami of all the entities. At that time, that the qualities of Bhagavan are excluded from the list of entities. That is because we saw in detail in the 99th Sutram that there is the Anavastha, endlessness problem is there, and Atmashrayam, that is qualities within qualities will also arrive. So Mamnigal explained that when we consider Bhagavan being present in all of the entities, at that time we should exclude qualities. Similarly, here Bhagavan being Upayam and Upayam is explained only for Chetanas, that is sentient beings only. When we look at Achetana entities, there is no question of Bhagavan being Upayam or Upayam for those insentient objects. Upaya means the process, Upaya means the end, reaching and serving. So both of these does not occur for the insentient objects. They are only present as to be used by Bhagavan. They are existing for the purpose of Bhagavan, but they don't engage, they don't consider Bhagavan, they cannot consider Bhagavan as Upayam and Upayam because they don't have any knowledge. The insentient objects have no knowledge. That is the main quality of Achetanam. Because they lack the knowledge, consciousness, the Upayam and Upayam role of Bhagavan is only applicable for Chetana. So that is also explained here. But Bhagavan is present in all of the Achetanam also. But he is not the Upayam and Upayam for Achetanam because they don't have the knowledge to understand, they don't have the consciousness to understand that Bhagavan is Upayam and Upayam. But Chetana, on the other hand, Atmas, they have the consciousness, so they will understand Bhagavan as the Upayam and Upayam and pursue Bhagavan. That is, Upayam is the process and Upayam is the end goal. So that principle is also very important to understand. So this is similar to how qualities were excluded while considering Bhagavan as present within all the entities. Here, Bhagavan to be considered as Upayam and Upayam only for Chetana. For Achetana, he is not the Upayam, he is neither the Upayam nor the Upayam. He is just the enjoyer of the Achetanam. So that principle is also very nicely explained in the commentary by Mamnigal. See, many of these principles we will not even think about, but our Acharyas, while doing commentary, they think about various aspects what somebody else will question, whether it is other mathams, that is other philosophers, other philosophy followers, or our own followers who may have these doubts. So Acharyas, they themselves raise these questions and they answer, and they provide answers for them also. So that is 101st Sutram. Now 102nd Sutram. In this Sutram, Pillai Lokacharya is mercifully explaining a Pasuram, is quoting a Pasuram and highlighting and establishing the principle of Bhagavan being the ultimate goal for Atmas, and how Bhagavan is with all of the aspects, all of the qualities. So Bhagavan is highlighted as the Bandhu, that is the relative, not just one type of relative but all types of relatives. We see that Pillai Lokacharya has already explained in a specific grantham called Navavida Sambandham, where 9 types of relationships between Atmas and Jivatma and Paramatma is explained in that Navavida Sambandham. So here that principle is highlighted very briefly, starting with Embiran Endai. So this Embiran Endai Pasuram is in Periya Tirumozhi, first centum, first decade itself. Very nice Pasuram, where Tirumangai Alvar is explaining how Bhagavan remains the all types of relatives, how Bhagavan is related in many different ways to the individual. Let us first see the Sutram, 102nd Sutram. Embiran endai engayale Ishwarane ella uravu murayum endru sollum. As Tirumangai Alvar says, starting with Embiran endai, the Pasuram is a very nice Pasuram. Embiran endai ennudai chutram எனக்கரசு என்னுடை வாழ்நாள் அம்பினால் அரக்கர் வெறுக்கள நெருக்கி அவருயிர் செகுத்த எம் அண்ணல் வம்புலாம் சோலை மாமதில் தஞ்சை மாமணி கோயிலே வணங்கி நம்பிகாள் உய்ய நான் கண்டுகொண்டேன் நாராயணா என்னும் நாமம். So Alvar is highlighting many relationships here. Empiran, my benefactor. Endai, my lord. Ennudai chutram, my relatives, all types of relatives like Mata, Pita, all the relatives. Yanakarasu, my master, my king. Ennudai வாழ்நாள், my whole life. So all of these relationships are highlighted by Tirumangai Alvar in this Pasuram. As per this Pasuram, it is understood that Bhagavan is related to Jivatma in all different ways. Let us see Mamnigal's commentary. That is, as per Narayana Shabdhartham, that is, Tirumangai Alvar is meditating upon this meaning of Narayana Shabdham, and he recited this Pasuram, Embiran endai ennudai chutram எனக்கரசு என்னுடை வாழ்நாள். So Alvar is saying that Bhagavan is related to me in so many different ways in this manner. As Alvar says that, we can understand that Ishvara Bhagavan is all types of relative for this Atma, for these Atmas, and that principle is explained in this Narayana word. Why is this quoted? Because this whole decade, first decade of Periya Tirumozhi, is for Tirumantram. This Narayana, divine name Narayana, is highlighted in every Pasuram in this particular decade. In the 10 Pasurams, Tirumangai Alvar is highlighting Narayana. Nan kandukonde Narayana ennum namam, nan kandukonde Narayana ennum namam. He says in every Pasuram, I have seen the Tirumantram, I have seen this name Narayana, I have understood this. So, as this particular decade itself is fully focused on the word Narayana and the name Narayana, and as Alvar reveals that all of the relationships are applicable for Jivatma towards Paramatma, that principle can be understood from this particular word Narayana, says Mamnigal in the commentary. That is 102nd Sutram.
Now, 103rd Sutram, a question arises and Pillai Lokacharya is answering that question in the 103rd Sutram. By being such relative for us, what is that Bhagavan is doing for the Atma? That is the question here, and for that Pillai Lokacharya is mercifully saying, Nam Pirakkana Andrum Avan Namakayirukkum. That is the Sutram, 101st Sutram. Nam Pirakkana Andrum Avan Namakayirukkum. The simple meaning is, even when we live for others, Bhagavan will remain for us. That is the simple meaning. Mamnigal explains in the commentary. It is very simple commentary here. Even though Anadikalam, that is since time immemorial, we have been in this samsaram, and even if we remained detached from Bhagavan, we did not know who Bhagavan is, we did not know how to worship him, we did not know what are his qualities, even in such cases, and even when we remain good for others, that is material relationships, we try to be very good for our friends, our families, our dependents and so on, even at those times, and if we abandoned Bhagavan in those days, Bhagavan remained good towards us, he remained kind towards us. That is the favor which Bhagavan has been doing as Antaryami, as being the many types of relative for us. So that is explained in this 103rd Sutram. 104th Sutram, so what did he do? What does he do when we turn away from him? How does he help us? That is the question here. For that, Pillai Lokacharya is mercifully answering, starting with Iramadam. 104th Sutram, 104th Sutram. Iram madamuttuvarai pole ulle padikidandu sattaye pidithu nokkikondu porum. So the simple meaning for this particular sutram is, just as a mother will care for her son who abandoned her by going to a chowdhury where the son is staying. So this is a narrative basically. We have to understand the background, the situation a little bit. Let's say there is a mother and a son. The son has an argument with the mother. He fights with the mother and he goes to the chowdhury. In those days, every town will have a chowdhury, and they will feed food there for anyone who comes, and they will give a place to stay. So that is how it was in those days. So the son goes to a chowdhury, but he reaches there very late in the night, so there is no food there. Now the mother will follow the son because she has love towards the son, even though he has fought with her and he has left her. She will follow where he is going. She will carry some food with her. She will go to the in charge of the chowdhury. She will give the food to him and ask him to feed the son. This is how it used to be in those days. Even now we can see mothers caring for the children, even when the children are abandoning the mothers. So this is the situation. At this time, the mother will still care for the son through somebody else, through the chowdhury in charge. So similarly, Bhagavan will also remain as Antaryami and will care for the Atma throughout the Atma's journey, making sure that the Atma is existing and Atma is going towards good path. So this is the simple meaning, and that is what is explained in detail by Mamnigal in the commentary. So let us see that. So in this example we can easily understand, the mother is the one who is helping. She is helping through the chowdhury in charge person. The son takes the food and he thanks the chowdhury in charge and consumes the food. Now the chowdhury in charge will not say that mother is the one who gave the food, because he knows, the mother has told him don't tell that I gave this food, because he will then reject it, because he is angry on the mother. So the chowdhury in charge will not tell the boy that it is the mother who is helping him with the food. He will just give the food as if he is giving it. Similarly, Bhagavan will remain as the Antaryami and he will help the Jivatma throughout his journey. But the Jivatma will not know that it is the Antaryami who is helping in every situation. Sometimes we may get into difficult times. At that time we will get some help from somebody. It is Bhagavan who is helping us through others. But we may not understand it. Still, Bhagavan doesn't care for that. He is only worried about helping us. This is similar to how a mother will help the son through a chowdhury in charge. She doesn't care whether the son knows that the food came from her or not. She only wants the son to have the food. So similarly, Bhagavan is helping us. That is the principle. Let us see Mamnigal's explanation. When Atma does not approach Bhagavan directly and seek help, at that time Bhagavan helps the Atma through others. This is similar to how an angry son will not seek help from his mother, rather he will go to a chowdhury man and seek help. And he will consume the food given by the chowdhury in charge. And he will stay in the place which is provided by the chowdhury in charge. Similarly, Atma too will not worship Bhagavan. He will show his independence. Sometimes he will say that he himself is the king. Sometimes he will go to other devatas. Sometimes he will go to other people and seek help. In all of those cases, Bhagavan remains as the Antaryami, as the individual as well as of others, remaining as the Antaryami of others, and he helps this particular Atma. Similarly, he helps every single Atma in this manner. So, this particular aspect is highlighted as the favor which is being done by Bhagavan all along, since time immemorial. Thus, this is how Bhagavan is protecting, doing his Rakshakam for the Atma throughout the Atma's journey since time immemorial. So that is explained in this particular sutram. With this, the word Narayana is explaining the Kainkarya Pratisambandhi, that is Bhagavan who is the recipient of our Kainkaryam. So our natural activity should be to serve Bhagavan, and Bhagavan is that natural Lord who is fit to receive our Kainkaryam. That is explained with this Narayana word. So we have seen all of these explanations, that Narayana being the Antaryami of all the entities, Narayana being the support, being the abode of all of the entities, and because of this there are three important qualities in one view, that is Antaryamitvam, Upayatvam and Upayatvam, and there are two other important qualities, that is Bhagavan having Paratvam and Saulabhyam, supremacy and simplicity. So all of these aspects relate to Bhagavan being the Lord who is fitting to receive the Kainkaryam of each and every individual Atma. That is explained up to here. Now after this, subsequent to this, from 105th Sutram, Aya Padam will be explained, the word Aya will be explained, and then the final concluding section of how the whole Tirumantram is to be understood, the collective meaning of Tirumantram, and those who have full faith in this Tirumantram and how they behave, that is also explained in the subsequent sections. We will see all of that in the next session. Alvar Emberumanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download Koyil KOYIL app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, KOYIL.org.